What the going on this team, Jerry?
Bury him! Bury him!
Jerry, TJ Watt.
He is the best defensive player on the planet.
Go! Yes! Yes! We're going to fire! Steelers fans! Bang! Run it down their throat!
No! That's not a penalty!
Game over! Game over! Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
He's aggressive.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime jersey, Jerry Don. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 2-0, so let's just start off the show with saying we couldn't have drawn up a better start to the season than 2-0. But I have some concerns, and I think you do, about that offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, for sure. And I would argue my concerns are a little bit more than yours. But I will say this: I'm not going to complain about being 2-0. I've seen a lot of those types of games, those Broncos games, where it went the other way, and then we're kicking ourselves in the ass later in the year. Yep. I will start by saying this: this is not sustainable. It is not sustainable. You're going to beat up on teams like the Broncos. You're going to beat up on teams like the Jaguars, like the Giants. You'll beat up on those teams like this and win scrappy games 16-10, 16-3, 13-10, 20-17. Sure, you'll beat those teams like that. This is not going to work against the Chiefs. It's not going to work against the Bengals. It's not going to work against the Ravens, the Bills, teams like that, Eagles, Cowboys, Chargers, even this week. It's not going to work like that against these teams. So you have to ask yourself, are we going to stick with Justin Fields and let him rock and see what happens? Or when Russ is healthy, which is maybe this week, next week, who knows, does he deserve to start playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers? I say he does. As of right now, I say he does.
This might be a good cop, bad cop episode. This might be truly the first time in Steel Here podcast history where we actually butt heads a little bit on some of the things. Because while I do agree with you, they need to score some points, and they did not score points. They're still not finishing drives. The first half, Jerry, I thought that Justin Fields looked absolutely incredible. He makes the long runs with his legs. He hits Darnell Washington for the touchdown. And I'm tweeting my ass off. He's the guy. Russ can be healthy. It doesn't matter. He's not coming back in. And then you go to the second half, and it's just penalties. So for me, yes, they didn't finish drives, Jerry, but can you really blame Fields for that? Does Russ score touchdowns, given you had 19 penalties? So you're going to sit there and tell me that you think Russ scores or pushes the ball downfield better than Fields did yesterday, or the offense moves better than Fields had the ability to move it when you're taking as many penalties as they take?
No, I think people are confused by what I'm trying to say. I think you are never ever going to know what Russell Wilson can do unless he plays football for the Pittsburgh Steelers at quarterback one.
I agree with that.
That is my take. It's like, is Justin playing bad football? No, I don't think he's playing bad football. Is he missing a few throws here and there? Sure. Is he making some really tough throws sometimes? Yes. Is he taking a couple bad sacks? Yes. Is he escaping from some sacks? Yes. Mm-hmm. So, do I think Russell Wilson is a significant downgrade from Justin Fields? Right now, I would say no, or I don't know, because Russell Wilson has yet to play quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, Mike Tomlin is we don't lose our job to injuries, So Russell Wilson, throughout this whole offseason, as soon as they got him, and people could say what they want, he was never the guy. Russell Wilson was always the guy in Mike Tomlin's eyes to play quarterback one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Russell Wilson never got hurt, Russell Wilson starts week one. That is a fact, 100% a fact. The thing is this. I don't think you could have gone Russell Wilson, Fields, back to Russell Wilson.
Right.
I think you can go Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, back to Justin Fields. And Steelers fans, I've listened to a couple other podcasts, and I'm not going to say which. Are people delusional? Like, people are saying on their podcasts Oh, Van Jefferson had a great game. Calvin Austin looked great. What the fuck are you guys watching? They looked terrible. In 2 weeks, they have not looked good. Like, these guys are not getting open. There's zero separation. Steelers are starving for another wide receiver. And to your point, Kev, I could be totally wrong. Russell Wilson can come in and it could be the same production, if not worse. And is that because the offensive line is so young and we have no wide receivers besides George Pickens? Possibly. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is, I'd rather Russell Wilson right now, because if he's healthy, now this is, I don't want to play Russell Wilson at 70%. If Russell Wilson comes out next week and on whatever, tomorrow or the next day, and he's like, hey, I'm fully healthy, I think they're going to play Russell Wilson. I do. But I don't think he's healthy yet. I don't think he's healthy yet. I really don't. I think it's going to take another week. But if you have another showing, like the Steelers offense had again against the Chargers, and let's say we lose that game.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? What do you do? Because listen, if they're not gonna play Russell Wilson, right, and if they really believe that Justin Fields is their guy for right now and the future, go and trade Russell Wilson. Go trade him. There's no reason for him to be on the roster then.
Here's where I'm at with it, because, you make some good points. You do make some good points. Fields leaves some plays out there. Dude, I can't get over the fucking throw to George Pickens rolling out of the pocket. If Broderick Jones is not holding, Jerry, that could go down as a top 5 play all season. That is a laser beam, dude. It's a fucking dagger rolling out 50 yards over Pat Surtain, who we said George Pickens might not have a day because of Pat Surtain, and he still lights his fucking ass up, dude. So for me, George Pickens, we'll just start with George Pickens is an absolute freak. He could be a top 10 wide receiver. He could be a top 5 wide receiver in football. I'm really starting to come around to that idea. I think Justin Fields has all the talent. I just wish they could finish a fucking drive. If they could finish drives, I would have no reason to say Russ. Now, for how good that defense is. And Jerry, I get it. It's Bo Nix. It's a rookie quarterback. You're still in Denver. You're still on the road. They beat the shit out of him, dude. He could do nearly nothing. Their only offense comes from a trick play, flea flicker, reverse bomb downfield. They still don't score a touchdown. Corey Trice picks the ball off in the end zone. So knowing that the defense is as good as it is, it almost makes me I possibly want to see Russ just because of what you're saying. We know Russ is probably the win now quarterback. He is probably the win now quarterback, the best chance to win. If they want to win a Super Bowl this season, it is probably Russ. I will say that I love the fact that we did get a couple looks at Justin Fields, because I think there's definitely something there to grow off of in the future. Yeah. So I'm on the fence. Flashes. If he doesn't score touchdowns against the Chargers, I am totally fine playing Russ against the Colts.
Yeah, okay. Listen, as a Steelers fan, who I watched that game, I watched every single play. Pat Freiermuth, 4 catches for 39 yards. George Pickens, 2 catches for 29 yards. Jaylen Warren, 2 catches, 19. Van Jefferson, 2 catches, 14. Calvin Austin, 1 catch, 6 yards. Najee, 1 catch, 5 yards. Darnell Washington, 1 catch, 5 yards, and a touchdown. If the Steelers want to win football games this season, they will lose 60% of their games with those kind of stats.
I agree.
It's just I'm looking. I am not worried about the defense whatsoever. But what I will say this is, when your defense is playing that good, that lights out, and the offense is struggling to score points, eventually what's going to happen is this defense is going to be on the field so much, especially early on in the year, and you get to that back half of the year and they are drained because they're one of them, the defenses in the NFL that are on the field the most. They're going to break. There's going to be some times where they fucking break, dude. And shame on Steelers fans who are going to blame defense in that situation when they don't realize 3/4 of the fucking year, this defense was on the field all the fucking time because the offense can't score points. And I will say this, Justin Fields under center just nonstop. I don't understand that. I don't get that. I know they want to run play action and they run it a lot, but I don't get that. You have a young offensive line, and you're just asking so much for them to block even longer than they have to.
It's so you read the stats, and if you're just looking at the stats, I would say, Jesus, those are awful numbers. Those are worse than Kenny Pickett numbers, for fuck's sake. And I would have come on here and just berated the dude for those kind of stats. However, Van Jefferson, long ball, they call the pass interference. They call the pass interference, offensive pass interference. George Pickens should have had a touchdown. You know, he gets in the end zone. Yeah, wow, he thought he was in. He still reaches in. That's a touchdown. That's not a penalty on Van Jefferson. You also look at the play to Pat Surtain. That's another 51 yards. You add in some of these plays where he got calls. He got deep pass interference calls. He had somewhere, I want to say, around 250 passing yards, and he should have had 2 touchdowns. So 250 and 2 touchdowns. Jerry, I would suck dick for 250 and 2 touchdowns, Jerry.
Yes. But listen, if my aunt had balls, she'd beat my uncle.
I get it. But those yards have to account somewhere, though. We have to understand those yards count somewhere.
No, I get it. I get that. But just from what I've seen over the last 2 weeks, Justin Fields has not won the Steelers games, and he has not lost the Steelers games.
I would agree with that.
The defense has won both games. And how many times do you want the Steelers defense to win you games? I wouldn't care if they won 12 games on their own, but should they really fucking have to? Like, no.
Oh, let's be real about this then. They're the highest paid defense in football. The offense is the cheapest offense in football.
Yeah.
So what do people think it's going to look like? I mean, we're not paid on the offensive side of the ball to run it up and score 30. They're paid to win these ugly football games where it's 16-13, it's 16-10. That's what it's going to look like. We have to accept that that's how they're built to win. Unfortunately, I agree with you. I don't think you can beat the juggernauts of the league that way. But I thought about this a long time on the fucking flight home, is that look at what the Chiefs did in that AFC title game against the Ravens. That was, I think they scored 20 points. 20 points, Jerry. So, like, you know, they went into Baltimore. The Ravens defense was great last year, and they held the Chiefs to 20 points. They could have won the game. If Zay Flowers doesn't fumble at the goal line, likely we're talking about the Ravens going to the Super Bowl. So, you know, while I agree over the course of a season, you can't really win that way, but defense can still win you in the playoffs. You just have to score. You have to score something, though. We're not scoring enough touchdowns. And the second half, that is the most sad offense. That is as bad as we've seen in years past. You can say it's more electric and it's more fun to watch, and I would agree with you in some aspects it is, but that second half was back to dog shit foot. Might as well have been Matt Canada.
Yeah, and I just don't I'm having a hard time today and yesterday just scrolling through Twitter and people just saying, like, there is no way you can play Russell Wilson. What do you mean there's no way? He was quarterback 1. You haven't even seen what he can do. And listen, am I a little biased on Russell Wilson because I really like him a lot? Sure, yeah, to a certain extent, but you're never going to know what the fuck you have until he goes out on the field and plays football. If he plays like dog shit, I'd be the first one to say Russell Wilson was never the guy and they should start Fields for the rest of the season. But to think as Steelers fans, you're going to play a whole entire football season with this offense and you're going to go to the playoffs and win playoff game, it's not happening. Not with this offense. No.
I think he gets one more start. I would bet heavily that Fields starts against the Chargers, and you know, and they're going to continue to let Russ get to 100%. That way, they don't have to do this back and forth all season where he tweaks it, he re-aggravates it, it's back to Fields, and they're just in limbo. You know, every couple of weeks is Russ coming back? Is it still Fields? I think you give him one more game, and no matter what, this is good for the Steelers because you're going to get a look at him no matter what. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get to see, and then if Russ comes in and Russ plays great and the team moves the ball, because like we said, with that defense, you score 20, I think you're going to win 75% of your games. I don't see many teams scoring more than 20 points on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
I would agree. I would 100% agree. I really would. And so, you know, I don't want to talk about the quarterback situation too much, but I could see them starting Justin Fields again, and he goes out there. If he loses the game, I can make a personal guarantee he will not be starting in week 4.
I would agree.
That is not going to happen. That is no way. If he loses this game, he is not playing in week 4. I can guarantee that if Russ is healthy. If he wins, I think it's still a 60-40 shot Russell Wilson plays.
I think it's dependent upon how he looked. Jerry, he goes out and scores 3 touchdowns, 300 passing yards.
Yeah, then he's gonna start again. Then he's gonna start again.
That's just because you're gonna say, wow, he looked. He won the first 2 games and then he took a really big jump forward in game 3. So he's gonna start against the Colts then. But you're right. Let's not linger too much on the quarterback situation because the real elephant in the room for me is A, the penalties, Jerry, and B, why the fuck do they think Broderick Jones is a right tackle? I have watched football like as many games I could possibly watch in the 35 years of my life. I have never one time seen, hey, we're going to rotate our right tackles in and out of a football game. I don't know what in the hell that plan was, but Jesus, man, Broderick Jones killed one drive. That entire drive, Broderick Jones kills it, and they started at like the half-inch line. People don't remember that part of it. They want to say, oh, the yards weren't there, the touchdowns weren't there. He was backed up in his own end zone, Justin Fields is, at the half-yard line. And it is loud. I mean, Jerry, when I tell you it is loud in Denver, it is fucking deafening. Backed up, takes the quarterback sneak, gets him out of there, gets him all the way to midfield, then throws that great ball down to George Pickens. It gets called back. Broderick Jones killed that drive, and then they bench him.
Single-handedly.
Fautanu is your right tackle. You drafted 2 guys to play left tackle. You're forcing them both to rotate at right tackle, and now Broderick Jones is likely going to get benched and have to sit. And then they're saying he didn't have the right mindset last week in practice. They said he didn't come to camp with the right outlook on it because he didn't want to play right tackle. So what the fuck are we doing, man? Like I can't come off that.
I don't blame Broderick Jones. I mean, if I was Broderick Jones, listen, I understand you're going to have to do things you don't really necessarily want to do. And I think when we had John Rice Plumlee on there, he said he would do anything and everything to make the team. Broderick Jones was a first-round draft
that we traded up for. We traded up
for. And listen, I agree. You're going to have to do things sometimes that you don't want to do. If I was Broderick Jones, I would openly at this point come out and say, I do not want to play right tackle. I want to play left tackle and let them know that's your fucking stance.
Right.
And that's it. Like, dude, all he has to say is, I'm not a right tackle. Like, this experiment that you guys are trying to do, like, it's not working out clearly. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. You drafted Fautanu. He's your starter. Let me go and compete with Dan Moore. And, hey, if Dan Moore wins the job, it is what it is. Then I'm going to have to fucking do whatever I can to start, If Dan Moore goes down, Broderick comes in. Like, I don't know, man. I just feel like the Steelers have mismanaged this right tackle, left tackle situation
terribly,
really, really poorly. And I don't know if it's all Mike Tomlin or some of the offensive line coach or what, but whoever's in charge of making these decisions is a dumbass.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful. I've never seen anything like that. When that comes out, we're tailgating before the game, and I read Twitter, Jerry Dulac, they're going to rotate tackles between Broderick and Fautanu. I'm
crazy.
Like, well, this isn't like high school football where you bring in a quarterback, you rotate a series where they do it in college here and there. This is your starting offensive line, and you're going to rotate your fucking tackles. I've never heard anything of that. And then you saw how it imploded on them. So, yes.
So quick.
And Dan Moore Jr. is playing good right now. I hate to say it. I mean, it doesn't bother me if it's good and we win with him. But, like, if that's the case, then you're going to have a guy you traded up for in the first round who's really not going to have contributed much to your football team in 2 seasons. And you're still going to go into year 3 where he's going to be raw because he hasn't gotten a ton of playing time at the position you drafted him to play. So I agree. They mismanaged it. Last year, they should have just ripped the Band-Aid off on that thing. Played Chooks at right tackle. You played Chooks at right tackle. You play Broderick at left tackle. And then by this point this season, he's your guy. You have what you need. So yeah, that's one of those things where you have to criticize the coaching staff for mismanaging this. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, and here's another thing. The progression with Broderick Jones at left tackle. I mean, we haven't really seen it.
One game against the Ravens, and it is his best game. No pressures, no sacks allowed. He was a mauler.
Yeah, so it's just stunting the growth at left tackle. You would think by now he'd have a whole year experience at left tackle, which is really good.
Yep.
He doesn't at all.
Yep.
All he knows is right tackle, and now he's going to go back to left tackle, but he's probably not going to play at all because Dan Moore is playing really good. So what the fuck? What are you going to do? Say Dan Moore plays great for the rest of the year. That's a whole nother year of Broderick Jones, a first-round draft pick that you traded up for that's not going to be on the football field playing left tackle.
And how his attitude, they're already saying, is kind of shit. So, Chris Hoke, defensive lineman for the Steelers, said he came to training camp, he had a bad attitude, and now he has a bad attitude because they're basically saying if he's not going to be the starter, he doesn't want to do the rotate in and out thing. Like, he's openly saying he doesn't want to do the rotate in and out thing. If he's not going to start, he doesn't think he deserves to play. Those are his words. And so
I kind of agree with Broderick Jones.
I absolutely agree with him. What the fuck are we doing, man? It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
I agree. Yeah, no, I would agree, man. And hey, if you're not going to play, you're just not going to play. It is what it is, I mean, who knows what's going to, like, here's the thing. People are, have speculated and have said, oh, Dan Moore is 1 million% walking at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I would lean towards that way. I really would. But if Dan Moore plays the rest of the season like he's been playing, I don't know if this team. I don't know what is going to happen, dude. They're in a weird spot. I would think he leaves, but I have no idea.
You have to let him go. You have to let him go.
Yeah.
You for all the reasons we've said. You've invested too much draft capital to trade up and get Broderick Jones. Dan Moore, if you really missed that badly, then that's a brutal miss on Omar Khan. Like, that's a brutal miss on Omar Khan if you pay Dan Moore after this season. And I don't think that they're going to. I think that's such a pipe dream that he'll still be here. But I agree with you. What if he ultimately plays great and then they're put in a position where they're like, well, we could pay him, but then what do we do with Broderick? You're going to trade him?
Trade Broderick?
And but for what value at this point? Because you have nothing to show anyone.
Exactly. That's the thing. Nobody has seen him at left tackle, so what the fuck do you know?
Right. I mean, we sound like we lost the game. But I think that we're speaking the way that every Steelers fan that's watched the Steelers closely for the last 4 years. We have no offense. And no matter how good the defense is, we know that when it comes time to play the big dogs, you have to fucking score points, man. You have to score points.
That's what I don't understand about all these people talking about the Steelers like they're in the best spot of all time. Are they 2-0? Yes, that is really good. You can't draw it up any better. But we've seen this story so many fucking times, bro, where eventually it comes to a point where we can't fucking score the ball and we lose games because of it.
Yep. I mean, I'm hoping that they get it going, and I'm still optimistic that they'll get it going. However, you heard Zach Frazier say something after the game. He had said that they stacked a lot of 6-men pressures, like they brought an extra man in the box, so the run game wasn't working quite as well, and yet the Steelers didn't get off of it. They just continued to pound the ball. And I think it's just because they know the only way we're going to lose that game to the Broncos and to rookie Bo Nix is if we shoot ourselves in the fucking foot. Like, we can play this small. They're not scoring 13 points. When we got to 13, we knew that the Broncos were not going to get to 13 points unless something bad happened where we turn the ball over, throw an interception, flip the field. And so they just played incredibly small ball in the second half. And while I get it, it resulted in a win. And ultimately, that is all we care about at this point in the season, Jerry. We said you have to be like 7-2 going into the back 8. So to win the first 2, and especially in years past where we always would bitch and say they'll lose this game, that's a game we look back on like a Colts, like a Cardinals, like a Patriots last year. We look back and say, well, if we just won one of those fucking games, they won the game. So I'm not going to ride their ass too hard. However, for, 2 games of the season to not be able to really finish drives, and it looks the same as it's looked in years past over and over and over, even with a new offensive coordinator, I wanted to see them try to run it up yesterday in the second half. At least try to show that you're capable of doing it. I just want to see just to know.
That was the thing. Like, I know I texted you when it happened, like on that like 4th and 1. I'm saying to myself, is Mike Tomlin watching a different game than I am? Because the Broncos cannot score a touchdown. They honestly can't. Like, they fucking suck. They can't move the ball whatsoever. And how do you not make a statement to your fucking offense, say, no, stay out on the fucking field? If you don't get 1 yard, Mike Tomlin has said this in his press conferences in the past. If you can't gain a yard on 4th and 1, you don't deserve to win the game. It was fucking 4th and 1, and you fucking kicked a field goal. I would have said this. I would have said, show me you guys can go down the field and fucking score a touchdown. I'm not kicking this ball for fucking 3 points. I don't give a fuck. I got the best defense in the world back there. They're going to get a stop, so it doesn't matter to me. Go ahead and fucking convert on 4th and 1 and go and score a fucking touchdown. He pussied out, kicked the field goal. Did we win the game? Yes, but those are the type of moments that I'm talking about. Like, they just do enough not to lose the game. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny?
Enough.
You say this. Remember last week when I'm like, I wanted them to go for it on that 4th and 1 and they didn't get it, and you wanted them to take the field goal. So
yeah,
this is where it's mind blowing. Like they don't have any rhyme or reason for the way that he makes in-game decisions, because again, I wanted them to go for it again yesterday. Why would you not want to go for it? Last week I wanted them to go for it. It didn't work out. This week he took the 3. So again, it comes back to, in his mind, look, another field goal, that's one more drive the Broncos aren't going to march the ball down the field. So maybe that's all. He just wants to coach to win that specific game. You know, he's coaching to win each game individually and not as though he has to run it up to prove anything to anybody. And I think that's what we're seeing. He does not give a shit what the scoreboard looks like. I think we just have to accept that about Mike Tomlin. At the end of the day, a win is a win for him.
I'm at the point now where I don't expect this team to come out there and score 27 points, 24 points. I just don't even see it really happening on most games. So I'm just going to go out there for the time being and just say to myself, the Steelers are going to keep the game close. They're going to play great defense, and hopefully we don't turn the ball over, because if we do, it's a big problem because the games are so close. It's not like the Steelers are in positions where they can turn the ball over.
Right.
They're in positions where they can't.
Right.
And they haven't.
Right.
Like, if they do turn the ball over,
and it will happen.
I think, and it will happen, you'll see a different side of people that come out and are like, fuck this fucking offense. This is fucking bullshit. They're happy now, and because the Steelers are 2-0 and they haven't turned the ball over. I want those same people to see how they feel if fucking we turn the ball over once on offense and fucking we lose a game by 3 points because of it.
Yeah, no, last week we hit on this. I said specifically the game plan for the Falcons game was solid because Najee's getting yards on 1st and 2nd down. You know, they rushed the ball fairly well on the early downs, and that way the 3rd downs were manageable. Yesterday, you didn't see that. The Broncos had a great game plan. We're going to stack the box. We're going to make you beat us downfield, and a lot of times they would either draw a flag or we would shoot ourselves in the foot. So we couldn't get into the offense that we specifically said. What happens if it's 3rd and long? What happens if you have to push the ball downfield on 3rd downs? How's the offense going to look? I think we got a small glimpse of what it would look like if you're either trailing and you can't go run first and the run game is not working for you. How's the passing game going to look? I was a little concerned about it, but again, I can't come back to, if you add all the penalty yards in there and he gets the touchdown to George Pickens, which in my opinion should have counted. That's not a rub route penalty on Van Jefferson. He goes for 250 and 2 touchdowns. So like, you're right. It's if it absolutely is, but I can't get it out of my head. Those counted for me. You know, they were great balls. He threw some great balls that got pass interference. He got pass interference on Pat Surtain, on the right sideline early in the first half. I thought George Pickens, while his numbers don't look good, I thought he played a good game. I have no concerns about George Pickens.
Good. Yeah, no, George played good. But like at the end of the day, like, yes, I know those penalties are big, but like other stuff didn't happen. You know what I mean? And that's just like, did he play a good game? Yeah, I would say he played a good game. Was there opportunities for him to do bigger things? Yes, of course. Should he have had way more yards? Yes, he should have. Should he have had a touchdown? Yes, he should have. But guess what? He just didn't. Yeah. And that's just what it is. The Steelers, they shouldn't be in a position to go back on these, if this happened, if that happens. No. Go out there, score the fucking ball, and make sure it happens, not if it happens, And that's why I'm not mad. Like, we're 2-0. I'm grateful and happy for that. I'm very upset on how this offense has looked through the first 2 weeks. I am.
It's hard to argue it. I've had some time to think about it. It's hard to argue it. It is. You have to finish the drives. Otherwise, we can say that. And you're right. We played a bad Broncos team and we just eked it out. Let's be honest about it. We did just eke it out, even though their offense could not move the ball for shit. That was still a 1-score game going into the end of the game there.
Yes, 1-score game, dude. 1-score game.
And so
that game should never be a 1-score game.
So let me ask you this then. You think if Russ plays all 4 quarters yesterday, they score, more than 1 touchdown? 20?
If he's healthy? Like
if Russell Wilson was healthy so far this season, let's take into both Falcons and that game yesterday. How many more touchdowns do you think he accounts for?
The thing is, like, I don't know. Like, I think for what this offense is right now, I think Russell Wilson would put up better numbers than Justin Fields. I don't know what the numbers look like. I just think deep down what I feel is that like Justin Fields is not the guy right now. Could he be the guy? Could he be a long-term guy? Yeah, I think he could because he has shown some really fucking great flashes. But right now, I mean, like I go back to what I've said on the beginning of the podcast, you're never gonna know what you have.
Yeah.
Like you're just not gonna know. Like that's the biggest problem to me is like okay, this is perfect. This is perfect. Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett. Mitch Trubisky starts the year, is fucking dog shit. Dog shit. We're begging for Kenny Pickett to come in.
Yeah.
He comes in. Kenny Pickett is not good as well. They end up going what? Mason Rudolph? It's like, you have to just see. You have to just see what the fuck is going to happen. Could this situation be the same? Maybe. Could Justin Fields come out next week? Offense stinks, loses the game. Fans are screaming for Russell Wilson, and then he comes in and he is not good. Yeah, I think that could happen. But you don't know any of this stuff unless you put them on the field to play football.
The only other thing I'll say, and I don't have a whole lot else to say. Defense is great. We know that. We don't even have to really talk about the fucking defense. They're great. The defense is great. I think that defense carries us this season. There's not much more you can really say. TJ's a fucking freak. Defense is great.
Yeah.
I really would like to see them take the training wheels off of Fields, though. Because the play calling, as much as they've won the first two games, the play calling is still very conservative, especially in the second half. I want to see them come out and throw on first down. I want to see them take a deep shot over the middle of the field, And so while you say you don't know until you see Russ, I also don't know who Fields is yet until they fucking take the training wheels off and let the guy throw the football, So
yeah,
that's part of it for me. It comes back to, though, I think they're doing whatever it takes to win these games right now because they know that by the time you get to the second half of the season, that's whenever you're going to have to really start to figure those things out. You're going to have to push it deep.
Yeah.
We're going to get those answers no matter what as the season plays out. And so I don't think that they care to push it right now. But, I mean, at some point, man, I agree with you. You're going to have to score touchdowns. I give Fields this last game, as much as I love the electric play, rollout, hit Pickens over Surtain, as much as I love the pass interferences that he drew, and I love watching that guy get out of the pocket and run because I think he is such a special talent when he does it.
Yeah.
I agree with you. If the touchdowns and the points don't come, it's all for naught. And so that's where I come. I would like to see Russ.
Kev, like he rushed the ball 8 times for 27 yards, 3 yards a carry, 3.4 yards a carry. I mean, is it good? I mean, I guess. I mean, it's not like great. The thing is this: I think Russell Wilson is going to start within the next 2 weeks. I do. I fully believe he's going to be the quarterback within the next 2 weeks. I do. I think what you just said just like rung a bell for me. I think they're doing whatever they can. They don't want to risk losing these games. I think they know Russell Wilson is going to play.
But I think that's probably what it is. And now that we have this conversation, that makes sense actually.
I think that they are doing anything they can to not lose these games. They're not taking the training wheels off of Justin Fields because of it.
Yep.
Because let's not forget, Justin Fields threw a lot of fucking interceptions and had a lot of bad plays in Chicago. I think they're keeping it very simple. They don't give a fuck what the fans think. They don't care what the media thinks. They're going to win these games playing defense. And hey, when Russell Wilson comes in, maybe the first or second week, they won't do many different things. They'll try to keep the same game plan, but I think they will open it up a lot more for Russell Wilson because he's a veteran. He's been there. He knows how to read a defense, and they'll open it up for him a lot faster than they're going to open it up for Justin Fields. And I think Justin Fields, yes, he might play this week. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure of that. But I would say week 4, I think they're going to play Russ.
He'll play this week. I would tell you'll see Russ Worst case Cowboys. And the more we've talked through this, the more I have to agree with you. Initially, I was going to come in here and say, no, Fields is the fucking guy. You got to ride him out. But if the points don't come, you're right. You have to see what Russ is. They brought him in to be quarterback one. He is a Super Bowl winner. It comes back to all the things we've said prior to who should win the quarterback job. However, I do want to reiterate this again. I think I have seen enough from Justin Fields to think that he could be the Steelers' future, or at least I think so. If Russ left after this season, it wouldn't kill me to play one season with Fields next year as he's the guy. So that's where I'm at with it. If it ultimately goes to Russ, I'm not going to be upset, especially if the points come. But I do think Fields can be a guy.
No, I agree. I'm not coming on here and saying Justin Fields is fucking ass. He sucks. He's not a good quarterback. I didn't say any of that. All I'm saying is I think he can be a long-term option for the Steelers, yes, but I think right now, and like we go back to it, I think they are just doing whatever they can right now to win some football games. Put the team in a good position. And once they listen, I think they know Russell Wilson is coming back and he's going to be quarterback. They didn't bring him in to be a backup. They just didn't. I know he costed peanuts, and I know it might not seem that way to fans where it just doesn't matter if he plays or not. He's not making anything. He's not hurting the team. At the end of the day, his name is fucking Russell Wilson, dude, and he's a Super Bowl champion for a fucking reason. Is he older? Yes, but he's a veteran. He's been there before. He knows what it's like to fucking win games. He knows what it's like to play with a really good fucking defense. So I think Russell Wilson's going to see the field a lot sooner than we think.
Yeah,
and then what people think, at least.
The more we've talked about it, I'm with you. I thought we were going to butt heads here, but it just makes sense. Especially if Fields doesn't. Now, hey, I will leave the door open. I'll leave the light on for Fields to continue to keep the job if he goes out and lights it up. 300 yards, 270, and 3 touchdowns against the Chargers at home. I'm not saying exactly. I'm not going to say that he's 100% going to give the job to Russ.
No. I think that is the only way Justin Fields keeps his job in week 4 is if he goes out there this week and fucking lights it up.
Agreed. But Jerry,
I think that's the only way for him.
We won. We are 2-0. The Ravens are 0-2. The Bengals are 0-2. The Browns are 1-1. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 2-0. So while it does feel like the sky's falling because we're not scoring, 2-0 is 2-0, Jerry Don. A 2-game lead on both the Bengals and the Ravens. A 2-game fucking lead on the Bengals and the Ravens. I love that. Love every bit of that, Jerry Don. Love every bit of that coming home to play the Chargers.
That every day of the week. Yep. I think this game is going to be a tough game for the Steelers.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a test. This is going to be their first. I thought Atlanta was going to be their like a real fucking test. Maybe it was just the week 1 jitters for Atlanta. I still think they're going to be an okay team, probably a pretty decent team this year as the year gets going. I think that Chargers team is rejuvenated with Harbaugh. Justin Herbert, top 5 quarterback. I would say top 7 quarterback. He's really fucking good.
Their line's not very good, and he takes some fucking beatings though. And so
he does. He takes some beatings. He does.
This will be fun. You know why this game will be fun? Because we're finally going to see a good defense. The Broncos defense is not good. Falcons defense, while they added some guys, it's also not an elite defense. The Chargers defense not bad. However, it's a real offense. So you're going to get to see, because I think we both think this is. You said it last week, and then as I'm watching the game yesterday, I can hear you in my head. Best defense in the decade. Best Steelers defense in a decade. And when I watched them play, I'm like, God damn, dude, the secondary is fucking good. Patrick Queen had a great game yesterday. TJ's TJ. Alex Highsmith had a good game yesterday. Minka looks great. Deshaun Elliott, Jerry, could not be a better fit for us, man.
Very good.
So fucking good. Corey Trice gets the interception. You're going to get Cam Sutton back at some point in the middle of the season. The defense has the ability to be the best defense they've had since they won a Super Bowl in 2008. Like, that's not 2010. That's the last time they had a crazy elite defense. I think we are on the door of that. So this will be a great test to see how we do against the Chargers. A real offense. Week 3 at home. It's going to be fucking electric. It's going to be electric in Pittsburgh. So I'm excited to just see how the defense, steps up to this challenge.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited for it. I'm I'm remaining optimistic about this. I'm definitely nervous about this game. I really am nervous about this game. So we'll see. We'll see.
No, anything else you want to add to this episode? I think we went a little bit longer than we wanted to, but there's just it's hard to not really hammer home this quarterback thing because it's a huge deal right now.
Yeah, I know. All I'll say is I don't agree with the people out there. I get it. Everybody has their own opinions. I just don't agree with the people out there that are like, this is a no-brainer. You're an idiot if you take out Justin Fields. I don't agree with those people at all.
I'll tell you this. Up until about a half an hour ago, that's where I was. I'm not even going to shit you. That's where I was mentally. I'm like, he showed me enough to make it work, but the points still aren't there. So it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. The penalties, whatever, they do have to clean all of that shit up. But, you're going to have to see drives end. And until that happens, he's not guaranteed to be the quarterback. So, you're right. You're right. It's not often I have to fucking tuck my tail and tell you that you made a better point that I have nothing to say. But Jerry Don, you might have won this debate today. So I'll give you that much.
Yep, we'll see what happens. Hey, man, I'm hoping Justin Fields goes out next week and lights it up. I would love to see nothing more, but until that happens, I have to lean the other way for now.
Agreed. Well, we appreciate the shit out of you guys. That's the end of the reactions episode. Like, comment, subscribe. The comments, again, Jerry Don, love the comments. You guys are the fucking best.
Great.
Like it's you don't know how hard it is sometimes for Jerry and I to coordinate schedules when I'm at the games and Jerry is in the gambling cave having to do the stream. Like it's a lot of hoops to jump through. We appreciate the shit out of you guys loving it, letting us know you love the 2 episodes a week. It fucking genuinely, I appreciate it. I know Jerry Don does. We love the fucking support.
Yeah.
We are gonna get this show to 20,000 subscriptions, and as soon as we do, you guys are going to win the $2,000. I think we gained like 600 subscriptions alone on last episode, so appreciate the shit out of you guys. We will see you here again Thursday afternoon.
Okay, see you next week.
Later,
This week.
Yeah,
Thursday.
we'll see you Thursday afternoon. Come on, Jerry Don.
Hell yeah. Peace.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.